Well, that's the reaction from the crowd here at Rodney Parade. They fear that a justice or an injustice has been served against them, but it's Leinster who will return to Dublin, the defending champions, with the full 5 points. A first away win of the season for the defending champions, and after what has been a sluggish start to the defence of their crown, there is a sense that they're starting to rediscover their equilibrium, and they're doing that, of course, with the opening weekend of the Champions Cup just around the corner. So there it is, victory for Leinster, following on from the 50 points they put past the Italian side, Zebra Parma, in the last round. So well done to Leinster. Final score at Rodney Parade: the Dragons 10, Leinster 24. Well, it's been a tough year or so for the Dragons. September the 21st, 2024. Their last win in the league, that was here against the Ospreys on the opening weekend. And they will feel that tonight, perhaps, just perhaps, the stage was set to end that long sequence. But, well, there's no doubt that call, that tackle from Scott Penny will be placed under the microscope, certainly by the locals here, if not by the authorities. Bear in mind, though, this was the Leinster squad shown in all its depth today. Just 3 of those who started in that defeat by Munster last month were involved here. Alex Soroka, a player who is developing all the time. A couple of crucial line-out steals in the first half, as well as scoring the first try, of course. And we also saw the sheer depth that Leinster have revealed on the bench tonight. The likes of Erhia Sneyman coming off, Luke McGrath running things from scrum half. Jerry Kerr making his second appearance, coming off the bench here. The likes of John McKee as well. Well, the Dragons now will move on to the Challenge Cup. As for Leinster, well, they are at home next weekend to Harlequins in the first round of the Champions Cup. Well, we can go down now to pitch side and catch up with Jenny Drummond, who is speaking to the player of the match, JJ Kenny.
Joshua, you are the BKT URC player of the match. Max, please can you do the honours and pop the medal on him? Very well played. I'll speak to you first, Joshua. Look, congratulations. Ended up with the bonus point victory there. Just how important was that for the Leinster team, considering the start of the season?
Yeah, it was super. I mean, I think as a group, we're really tight and we've been trying to build. We spoke about just keeping things simple. Tonight, we knew it wasn't going to be easy. It was a tough place to come. In the end, you know, the crowd are getting behind the Dragons there, and it really becomes a boiling pot. And we just need to come together as a group of lads, and I thought we did that well. So just try to keep things simple, and yeah, super to get the bonus point.
An element of luck, perhaps, with that decision from the TMO, from the referee, not conceding a penalty there, and then to get the bonus point try?
Yeah, look, I mean, that's the game. So I'm a big believer. I think you create your own luck. If we stick together as a team and we fight for the game, I think you create your own luck. So there's a bit of that in it, but, you know, it could go either way.
They seem to be causing you problems in the first half, certainly, and then down to 13 at one point as well. How pleased were you with the second half performance there?
Yeah, really good. I mean, I think we always take pride in, like, when we come together at half time, we have a good chat in the changing rooms and keep things really clear and come out with a strong message for the second half, and that was discipline. I thought our discipline was much better in the second half, and just making sure we were staying on side, which was killing us in the first half. So stuck together in the second half and grinded it out.
Look, I'll let you get your breath back. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Come on in, Max. Oops. Nearly broke it. Look, congratulations, but that certainly wasn't an easy victory by any stretch of the imagination. How do you sum up that 80 minutes?
Yeah, it was not picture perfect, but I think, we talked about during the week, I think the game last year in the Aviva, I think, was a similar scoreline at half-time. So we knew it was always going to be a challenge over here, you know what I mean? Conditions are tough, really proud bunch of players in the Dragons, and so we knew it was going to be a challenge, but we definitely made life too hard for ourselves. Way too many penalties, probably slightly inconsistent around the collision, and just made life tough for ourselves. But really proud of the lads, put in a hell of a shift. The amount of times we're on our line defending, and thought we really stood up really well. And shout out to Josh Erickson, who made his debut. I'm delighted for him. He's put a lot of work in, and it's just great.
Yeah, in fact, it was 10 penalties that you conceded in that first 40 minutes itself. Is that below Leinster standards that you want moving forwards?
Yeah, that's definitely below Leinster standards. No, that's not good enough, and it's something we'll look at going into next week. But it just needs to be better.
Well, look, congratulations on the victory. Well played.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Well, in the end, they came away with maximum points. A bonus point win for Leinster here at Rodney Parade. Bit of controversy thrown in as well. Ian Madigan has been tracking down some of his former teammates.
Yeah, so I'm here. Kieran Froley's kindly joined me, and Jimmy O'Brien. Well done tonight, guys. Were you impressed with that performance?
Yeah, it's always an unbelievably tough place to come. It's hostile. They're a very proud bunch. Dragons are always tough to play over here. And even back home, they made it tough against us last year. We were only looking back at the clips at the start of the week, and 36 minutes in the Aviva, I think it was only 5-3 was the score. So they're always a tough outfit to play, and fair play to them. They showed up again tonight.
Yeah, and I thought there was definitely more movement in that Leinster attack, in particular in that second half. Are they the things you've been working on through this window?
Yeah, we try to play a bit quicker, try to set quicker. I was back trying to work all together, so myself, Frol's trying to work with Harry, getting 3, 4, 5 of us nearly all working together. Tried to do that, we spoke about that at half time and tried to in the second half. Obviously conditions probably didn't help us as much, and our forwards had to bail us out a bit, but felt like we got there on a few occasions. Yeah,
Frols, I was really impressed with you tonight. Obviously you've played it out half, full back, in the centre tonight, in that kind of roaming role alongside Harry Byrne. How did you feel out there?
I felt unbelievably, because I had the likes of Jimmy outside me. Even the wingers I thought were so vocal, and they were telling me the space was there. And then for Harry it's probably handy because he has them kind of footballing eyes to see the space and play to the space, because we put a massive onus on it this week about playing to space and getting ourselves into our flow and attack. So I think we did it at the start of the half. Maybe we fell away from it towards the end of the first half, but then I think in the second half we took the space well, and it looked good at the end of the day. Yeah.
No, it certainly did. And look, the momentum's back into the season. Bonus point win against Zebra, bonus point win on the road to Dragons. What are you looking forward to now coming into Europe?
Yeah, they're the big games. They're the ones you want to play in. Those big European games. So yeah, looking the page will turn pretty quick. I think the Harlequins now. And then Leicester after that. But yeah, they're the kind of exciting weeks. So I want to involve the Leinster, I think, for everyone.
Brilliant. Well, best of luck for selection next week. Well done today, gents. Yeah, well done.
Thanks, gentlemen. So mission accomplished for the defending champions here at Rodney Parade. 24-10, the final score. And who else to put the icing on the cake? R.G. Snyman, super sub off the bench. We will analyse this one a little more after the break. Welcome back, and the match on the other side this evening, Ulster against Benetton. As you can see, an emphatic victory for the Ulstermen. Robert Balakoon with one of 6 tries for Ulster as they romp to a 47-13 victory against Benetton. Significant statement that for Ulster over here in Newport. Well, you're pretty glum-faced, Ashton. You're retired now, but still your heart is very close to this place. It was such a tight game for so long. So look at the scoreline now at the end and see 24-10. Well, let's just check out the other fixtures coming up this weekend. Bulls, Lions, Zebra, Cardiff, Edinburgh Ospreys, Munster Stormers, Scarlets, Glasgow, and Connacht against the Sharks, wrapping things up. And a look at the table. Well, Leinster came into this weekend in 7th place. They climb a place to 6th. The recovery is ongoing for the defending champions. Stormers, Munster take on one another tomorrow. The only 2 teams left in the league unbeaten. And the Dragons still in 15th place. They have drawn twice in the league this season. That means they're on 5 points. The Scarlets marooned with the 0 points at the bottom. So as we were talking about the scoreboard, Ashton, 24-10, that seems scant return for a Dragon side who put so much heart and spirit into that performance.
Oh, I'm absolutely, like you said, my heart is still firmly at Rodney Parade, so I'm absolutely devastated for the boys to see such an improvement, after a period of not playing rugby. They must have been working so hard over those couple of weeks of internationals, and it's such a good performance to end like that, and with that scoreline as well, it's not deserving of their performance.
Justified scoreline, 24-10?
No, I certainly thought for the performance that the Dragons put in, at a minimum they deserved a losing bonus point, and at one stage there it looked like for all money they were going to get an opportunity to draw up the game, and I know we're going to dive into that in further detail, but I think that can really kickstart the Dragons season, heading into the Challenge Cup now. I think they're playing two French opposition. That will have been good preparation for that.
But we say this so much, don't we? And we cover the Dragons, plucky Dragons.
Yeah.
There's only so long you can keep saying that, concentrating on the spirit and the effort. They need wins.
No, they do. And you look at the season so far, you look at the Ospreys game where they had a kick to win it, an opportunity to beat the Sharks with a potential drop goal, and then an opportunity to get a big scalp against Leinster tonight. And I feel for them, but they're putting the work in. The wins will come. They just have to be patient.
Just before half-time, there was that critical lost scrum. The Dragons could have gone in 2 scores clear. And then clearly something was said in that Leinster dressing room at half-time, because they came out firing on all cylinders. Josh Kenny going over within 3 minutes of the restart.
Yeah, definitely, and you almost expect nothing less. If you know anything about Leinster, they're going to regroup, they're going to come back stronger and right some of the wrongs of the first half. I think he was brilliant, finishing off everything. He was on the end of this one. It's lovely having that run in. Still had to finish it, but the accuracy of Leinster that we didn't see in the first half. They come out, they strung their game together, the patience, the effectiveness of the carries of the pack, and they managed to get over the line. So it was a strong start, but Dragons did make it difficult.
They did it. We often talk, don't we, Ian, about the last 5 minutes of the first half, the first 5 of the second, and Leinster won those decisively.
Yeah, they were the big moments. Like you think back to the end of the first half when Dragons against 13 men, Leinster, could they have pushed it out to a 2-score game, gone in at half-time, 14-5 up, and that would have massively changed the complexion. Fast forward 5 minutes into the second half, they've relinquished the lead, and Leinster, they didn't look back after that. But it required some serious firepower off the Leinster bench. Orgy Sneyman, the likes of Luke McGrath, coming off the bench to change the game. Orgy in particular, his ball carrying ability, offloading, brought Leinster back into the game, started to free up the Dragons' defence, and that was the difference on the night.
Well, it was a classic R.G. Snyman offload that led to the second Kenny try, and by that point it looked like Leinster were going to pull away.
Yeah, it did, and there was so much before this passage of play. R.G. Snyman was playing scrum half, out half, second row, and he's playing for the Harlem Globetrotters there. He just knows where the space is, and because he's 6'10", he can get it there with a basketball pass. But nearly everything he touched turned to goal tonight, and that's quite often the way with how he plays.
I mean, you gave JJ Kenny man of the match, and deservedly so, but Snyman could have won it off 35 minutes, couldn't he?
He could have, definitely. The impact that he had, as we've just touched on there. And, I was a little bit disappointed that the Dragons didn't quite adjust, have a conversation around changing your tackle selection. On one of those clips there, we saw 2 go low, which freed him up a little bit. And, it's having that awareness in those big moments of changing that tackle selection, but not taking anything away from him. It's extremely difficult to defend, and the impact, speaks for itself.
So it is played 6, lost 4, drawn 2 for the Dragons so far in the URC this season, and Philo Tiatia is standing by with Jenny.
Philo, hard lines out there. Firstly, can I get your thoughts on whether you thought that was a penalty or not at a very pivotal point of the match?
Yep. I thought it was a yellow card. It was clearly short of contact to the head, and I guess the referee in the middle, Morne, thought differently, and I just thought that one, there was the context of the game. It was pretty close. It was 7 points, but yeah, then the big fella took this opportunity and scored in the corner, and they made it 14 points. So I'm disappointed for the players. It was a hard-fought match, and parts of the game that we were trying to work on, there was evidence of growth, which is great. That's all I have to say. Just around the decision, I just thought, I saw it differently.
In terms of the overall performance, certainly in the first half, you managed to cause them quite a few problems. They were down to 13 as well. Do you think that was an opportunity there, maybe to try and get another score?
Well, certainly, Leinster defended really well in those moments, and we just didn't take the opportunities that were given to us, and different parts of the game we'll keep sharpening up on, and
Where do you think they were stronger in that second half performance?
I wouldn't say they were stronger, but I think we had a couple of young guys come on, and they got exposed at this level, and we're from the scrum, they had more dominance, but we stayed in the fight defensively, and I think the penalty count was 9-4, Leinster 9 and us 4, and we just got to take those chances when we get in there.
Look, hard lines tonight. It was a good performance.
Thanks, Jenny. Cheers.
Well, Philo reasonably diplomatic there when asked about the incident, which we're going to come on to now, Ash. Now, I was stood, right, I saw it in real time. It was a nasty collision, shoulder to the head, Scott Penny on Levi Douglas. The referee and the TMO, they consulted for a while, they discussed, they looked at a few angles and remarkably came away with no sanction at all. That seems astonishing given the climate we're in with head injuries and head-high tackles.
Yeah, I was just so confused, to be honest, and me and Ian, we were looking at each other in the gantry, just wondering how it got round to that, how the referee came to the conclusion that he did, and the inconsistency was something that we were speaking about as well. How do you coach this? How do you go back in the week and coach defending your try line?
And that's the frustration. Are we going to see going forward now that every incident like that isn't going to be penalised even with a penalty? Because if that is the case, we can continue on. But it's seeing, for example, Ty Byrne getting a red card against New Zealand, then seeing Sasha with head contact against Tommy O'Brien, it being a penalty but not a yellow card. That's where the frustration is. And I'm not saying this with my Leinster hat on or my Irish hat on. I'm just saying it as a spectator. When we're watching the game, we want consistency. Because when we're seeing headshots, it's just a lottery when it goes to the referee and the TMO. And World Rugby need to get on top of this.
I mean, often these provoke debate, and you go through the steps and whether there's mitigation, etc. And sometimes 50-50s are difficult to call. But that one, for everyone we've seen over the course of the autumn, that one seemed clear as day, didn't it?
I think so. Like you say, some of the ones we've seen in the autumn that have seen cards for, of being questionable maybe, and conversations have been had definitely after the fact. But that for me was clear as day. Again, taking my Dragons hat off, yeah. I would expect a card there, and to not even get a penalty is just completely sending the wrong message. And it's a game-defining moment. One of the best performances that Dragons have put together. Not that should influence the decision, but when you've essentially been punished, getting yourselves into that position for that to happen, I think is extremely disappointing, and I'm sure the coaching staff will have something to say behind closed doors to the officiating.
Yep, it was a big call, that's for sure. We can hear now then from the victorious head coach, Leo Cullen.
Leo, congratulations on a victory, bonus point victory in the end. In fact, that's what you wanted, but it was by no means easy. 4 yellows in total. How hard did you have to work for that one?
Yeah, listen, it's a great outcome from the game, isn't it? To come away from home and but a lot of young guys out there like to come away with a bonus point win. Yeah, but listen, we made very hard work of it at times. A lot of that is down to Dragons being good, but a lot of it is in our own control now as well. So first half, we probably entered our 22, maybe 5 or 6 occasions. We've one try very early on, but listen, we squandered a lot of opportunities. Then we started giving away a lot of penalties, which just sort of stacked up, and a lot of them are very avoidable. A lot of offside penalties we gave away, and then there was repeat infringements and close to the try line, and then we give up a couple of yellow cards. and so it's just we just made life really difficult for ourselves. Credit to Dragons, thought they came strong at us for the whole game, like we knew they would. But yeah, listen, it's really frustrating from our point of view. Even the second half, listen, we get over the try line a couple of times, don't get tries or have tries disallowed for various different things, clean out. Another one we get held up in the corner, so like there's just multiple chances that we're wasting. So yeah, hugely frustrated I think with the performance, but it's a step on, and hopefully we can progress from here, because we've such an exciting block of games now, so try and get excited for next week into Champions Cup. And yeah, listen, as I said before the game, there's so much to look forward in this block of games. As I said, we'll have a lot of the international crew that have been away for the last 5-6 weeks, so they'll come back in on Monday, and yeah, listen, we'll have some interesting selection decisions to make ahead of next week and even the weeks beyond that as well.
How important is this block for Leinster, both Champions Cup and also URC as well?
Oh, it's huge, yeah. Like it's in the 4 Champions Cup games, because yeah, listen, like it's a seeding exercise in many ways, as we know. But listen, where you finish, like it is, there's some. It's important, really, isn't it, for us? To have a bit of control of that. So, and similar in the URC as well. So we 4 Derby games is our next 4 games in the URC, and then we finish this block of 10 games with Edinburgh. So, yeah, listen, it's massive. Like battle out for every single point. It's great to come up with a bonus point try there at the very, very end, because listen, we were hanging on their try line, and that's probably the pleasing thing is, like, as in we were able to defend with good disciplined defence when we needed to, but there was just parts of the game, whether that's focus or guys, whatever that is, it's we just need to have a good look at ourselves.
Thanks very much for your time. Well done.
Okay, thank you.
He does cut a slightly frustrated figure, and understandably so. Yes, 2 consecutive bonus points now after a stuttering start to the season, but they don't look like the Leinster we've come to expect. And yes, we're only a third of the way through the regular season, Ian, but Leinster know the importance of getting home semi-finals and an easier route to the final, and they've got to start picking up the pace if they're going to do that.
Yeah, you can sense 2 things from that. It was frustration and relief. Frustration with the performance, and you've touched on it there. This Leinster team hasn't caught fire yet this season, and that's not ideal heading into Europe. They're lucky that they've a home game against Harlequins to try and get that campaign off to a good start, and the relief to come away with 5 points and to forge themselves into the top 8 of this league. But Leo said it himself there, the frustration, it's Leinster controlling the controllables, and they didn't do that tonight. It's unacceptable to be offside on multiple occasions when your team isn't under pressure. That's on the individual, and that's where Leo is going to really go through this team next week and try and reset the standards that he expects and this team expects of themselves.
Yeah, because they're launching into their Heineken Cup, Investec Champions Cup campaign next week, and of course, as mentioned, they've got Harlequins, which you would say is a relatively good start for them. Harlequins not exactly pulling up trees in the English Prem at the moment. What will they have learned from their shock exit in the semi-finals last year?
Well, I don't think the true learnings will be shown until Leinster get back into a semi-final or a final and in reality win the Investec Champions Cup. That loss last year has left a deep scar. And look, they're coming up against Harlequins again. It's not going to be as easy as it was in last year's quarter-final. And then away to Welford Road is going to be a challenging fixture. And you certainly won't be able to give away as many penalties as they did tonight when you're playing in Welford Road. And then, look, the rivalry between La Rochelle is synonymous now over the last 5 years, and then a tricky final fixture against Bayonne. Bayonne are a very good side at home. They don't lose many games in the top 14 in the south of France, so it is a challenging group, and Leo said it there. It is so important that you forge your way into the top 2 seedings. As we saw last year, it tripped up Toulouse having to play Bordeaux away in the semi-final.
Speaking of the south of France, Ashton, the Dragons, a trip to Perpignan, Catalan country, the Aimé Giral, and yes, that is normally intimidating, but as was touched on in commentary, they've lost 10 out of 10 in the top 14 this season. They're probably going to want to focus on the relegation battle there. That's a good opportunity for the Dragons, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd hope so, and you end up with these situations quite a bit, in the Challenge Cup, whether the French are going to commit to the competition and send their best team. But I don't think that the Dragons can look into that. I think they need to prepare for that game the same way they prepared for this one. Really reflect on tonight's performance leading into this European campaign, because that's the best performance of the season so far for the Dragons. They want to take as much good out of that as possible and take it into those games. So regardless of where Perpignan is at in the top 14, you know, they need to treat it as any other game.
Sometimes a change of competition can deliver a change in tone and a change in fortunes with teams. So the Dragons will be hoping for a bit of that when they do travel south next weekend. As for the URC, though, plenty more action coming your way this weekend. We mentioned it earlier, 2 Welsh-Scottish clashes tomorrow. Edinburgh against the Ospreys, severely depleted Ospreys. They've got 9 away with Wales against South Africa. Scarlets welcome Glasgow to Parker Scarlets, and then the big one, Munster against the Stormers. The only 2 sides to have a perfect record on the league, both 5 from 5 so far. Something has to give at Thomond Park tomorrow. But that is it from us at a drizzly Rodney Parade here in Newport. 24-10 to Leinster. Congratulations to them. Commiserations to the Dragons, but some positive shoots for them to clutch onto. We will see you very soon. Take care.